Hello and good evening students and welcome to Byjus Exam Prep IAS. Hope you're all doing well and you're getting battle ready for this year's prelims exam. So let us start with the daily quiz for 4th April to help you and assist you with the same. The first question is, which of these statements is true regarding water purification technologies? The RO technology helps in removing the hardness of the water. The UV technology helps in killing bacteria and viruses but does not eliminate them like the RO technology. The UF technology does not require electricity to function, while the UV and RO technologies need that. Now, RO technology is reverse osmosis technology. UV technology is ultraviolet and UF is ultrafiltration. Now in India, the majority of our population, it uses the underground water for its daily water needs. This water from the underground resources can be contaminated with certain compounds which are unfit for human consumption beyond a certain concentration. Moreover, certain locations they do not have availability of clean drinking water, and that is why they have to rely on various types of filtration techniques in order to filter the water to use for their consumption. Now, the government of India did start a scheme to link all the rural households with tapped water. Can you in the comments mention that particular scheme? Now going back to these technologies, why is it in news? Because the Delhi government, in order to provide water to the water scarce areas, it is planning to set up 500 reverse osmosis plants. Now when it comes to science and technology questions, these type of questions they can be easily asked in your exams. What is the difference between various technologies? So here we have mentioned the difference between the reverse osmosis, ultraviolet and ultrafiltration technologies. Now the reverse osmosis and UV filters, they require electricity for the purification purposes, while the ultrafiltration technology does not need any kind of electricity. Now the RO filtration, it is the most advanced form of filtration and it filters out all bacteria and viruses. It can also help in softening the water. The UV filter does kill the bacteria and viruses, but it does not eliminate them. Whereas the UF filter, it can filter out these pathogens. Also, please note that ultraviolet filtration technology, it uses the UV radiations for killing these pathogens, whereas the RO technology and the UF technology, it uses membranes for filtering out the water. So over here, this is true, yes, RO technology, it helps in removal of the hardness of the water. This is also true. The UV technology helps in killing the bacteria and viruses but does not eliminate them like the RO technology does. The ultrafiltration technology, it does not require electricity to function, while the UV and RO technologies, they do require it. So the correct answer over here is D. The next question is regarding electoral bonds. Why is this question important, especially for this year? Is because this year many states of India, they are undergoing state legislative assembly elections. In February, we had such elections for Tripura, Meghalaya and Nagaland. In May, we'll be having the elections for the state of Karnataka, and at the end of the year, in November and December, the states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Mizoram, Rajasthan and Telangana, they will be undergoing the state legislative assembly elections. So that is why the information regarding electoral bonds, which have become the primary source for electoral funding, it becomes important. The statements are, they can be issued only by all the public sector banks of India. Any political party can receive funding from these bonds. Any citizen of India can buy these bonds and donate them to the political party of their choice. The reason why we have taken this question is because the sale of the electoral bonds, it will go on till April 12th. Now there is only one bank which has the authority to issue these electoral bonds, and that is the State Bank of India. So any citizen of India, either individually or in groups, they can buy these electoral bonds for the party of their choice. Apart from the individuals and groups of citizens, any entity which has been incorporated or established in India, it also can buy these bonds. Now, these bonds can be used only by those political parties which are registered under Section 29A of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. And also, they should have secured not less than 1% of the votes polled in the last general election to the House of the People, that is at the union level, or the state legislative assembly of the state. So there are certain conditions that have been established for the political parties to get these fundings. Also, please note that these political parties, they need to have a dedicated electoral bond account with the State Bank of India, where they will receive the money that has been raised through these electoral bonds. So if you see these statements, this is incorrect. Not all PSBs are allowed to issue these bonds, only the State Bank of India. In fact, only 29 branches of State Bank of India, they are allowed to issue these electoral bonds. This is also wrong. There are certain conditions established that only certain political parties are allowed to receive this funding. This, however, is correct. So, a correct answer over here is A. The next question is about Purchasing Managers Index. Which of the following statements are not true regarding the Purchasing Managers Index? It helps in anticipating the changes in the economic trends of a country. For India, it is calculated by the Department of Economic Affairs. It can be calculated both for the service and the manufacturing sector. It is a perceptional analysis only undertaken for the private sector. Now, why is this question important? Because in the recent times, there have been a lot of economic upheavals all across the world. With the failure of banks in the USA, the failure of the Credit Suisse Bank, which led to its sale to the UBS Bank, it has caused a lot of economic turmoil in the world, and that is why it is necessary to understand what is the perception of the people regarding the various economic conditions in the countries. The Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index of India, it has expanded to 3 months high. This data has been released by S&P. And according to that, the perception of future of growth in the country, it is positive. Now, what exactly is PMI or Purchasing Managers Index? It was started in the year 1948 by an institute based in United States known as Institute of Supply Management. Now, PMI, it is an indicator of business activity both in the manufacturing as well as the service sector. It asks the respondents about the change in their perception regarding certain key business variables like outputs, new orders, business expectations, employments, and so on. Based on these questions, based on these qualitative analysis, an index is created which can range from 1 to 100. If the value of the index it is more than 50, then this denotes that there will be expansion in the business activities in the upcoming months. If this is less than 50, then there is a concern that the business activity it might contract. So please note that this is done only for the private sector companies. Also, the PMI data, it is usually released at the start of the month, much before any type of official data is released by the government for industrial output, GDP growth, or manufacturing growth. That is why it is a very good indicator of economic activity, and central banks of many countries, they also use this PMI data to make decisions on what should be the interest rates. Because this is a private sector data, it is released by taking the information from the private sector. There is no role of the government in releasing of the PMI data. So out of these, This is a correct statement. Yes, it helps in anticipating the changes in the economic trends in a country. This is also correct. Yes, both service and manufacturing sector PMI data, it can be taken and it gets collated to generate a collective PMI data. It is a perceptional analysis, and yes, it is undertaken only for the private sector. So these are correct statements. This, however, is a wrong statement. No, the government of India does not release this PMI data. So a correct answer over here is B. The next question is, which of the following statement is true regarding the ICE memory project? It is an initiative to develop cryogenic technologies to preserve the human body during long space flights. It is a collaboration of paleontologists to preserve the Ice Age era animal specimens. It is an initiative to have an in-depth study of the zombie viruses which had been preserved in the ice and are now resurfacing due to global warming. It is an initiative to save samples of ancient ice for analysis before it gets melted away due to climate change. Now this question, it is very factual, but it is very important. The ICE Memory Project, which has found its mention in today's The Hindu, it was a project that was launched in the year 2017. What was the reason for this launch? Is because the glaciers all across the world, they keep a very good record of our climate and our environment. They are the only direct natural records we have of the variations in the atmospheric composition, a study of which is very essential to identify these two criteria. However, because of the retreat of the glaciers all across the world due to climate change and global warming, we are losing these records. And because of that, this ICE Memory Project was started to establish an ice memory sanctuary under the snow, where the ice samples, they will be saved in order to study them in the future and try to understand our environment and geology. This project is being run by the Ice Memory Foundation. So out of these, this is the correct answer, that it is an initiative to save samples of ancient ice which will be kept in a ice memory sanctuary in Antarctica under the snow for analysis before it gets melted away due to climate change. Now we come to a PYQ from the year 2015. The term Goldilocks zone is often seen in the news in the context of the limits of habitable zone above the surface of the earth, regions inside the earth-like planets in outer space, search for the earth-like planets in outer space, search for meteorites containing precious metal. Now this term, the Goldilocks zone, it is derived from a fairy tale about Goldilocks and the three bears. Now according to this fairy tale, Goldilocks entered the house of three bears, two of which preferred extreme things like very hot food, very hard bed, or very cold food and very soft bed. The middle bear, it preferred things in moderation. Its food was just the right temperature, its bed was of just the right hardness, and that is why Goldilocks preferred to use the food and the bed of this middle bear. Similarly, we are trying to find the Goldilocks zone, the zone where the life will be probable in case of outer space. Now this zone, it is at an appropriate distance from the star. The planets located in this zone will neither experience too hot conditions, that is experienced by planets very near to the star, or too cold temperature conditions as experienced by planets too far away from the star. They are in just the right zone. So that is Goldilocks zone. So it is the range of distance with the right temperature for the water to remain liquid so that the life could be probable in this region. So our correct answer over here will be the Goldilocks zone is seen in the news in the context of search for Earth-like planets in the outer space which can support life. Now we come to the fact of the day, which is about the district mineral foundations. According to a report, district mineral foundations, they have been established in 626 districts of 23 states in India. Now, as stated here, the district mineral foundations, they are established under section 9B of the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. They are responsible for implementing the Pradhan Mantri Khanij Kshetra Kalyan Yojana and various other schemes in the areas where the mining is carried out. Now, these foundations, they are established to ensure that the areas where the mining is being conducted, the benefits of those mining activities or the economic gains due to that mining activities, they are received even by the people who are living in the area surrounding the mines. The state governments, they can establish a district mineral foundation as a trust or as a non-profit body, and it gets the contributions from the miners. Whichever company or whichever entity is involved in the mining operations, they have to contribute certain amount to these district mineral foundations. Now please note that even though they have been established under MMDR Act 1957, the first DMF, it was established in 2015. Because 2015 amendment of this act, it necessitated the formation of the district mineral foundations. Now, according to the Pradhan Mantri Khanij Kshetra Kalyan Yojana, they require the DMFs to identify the affected people and the affected areas that needs to be covered under this scheme and spend at least 60% of the total funds that they get on high priority areas. One is drinking water supply, then environmental preservation and pollution control. Third is healthcare. Fourth is education. Then we have welfare of women and children, which are one of the most vulnerable sections of the society. Then welfare of aged and disabled people, skill development, sanitation. So these are the 8 activities on which 60% of the funds they need to be spent. The rest of the 40% of the fund, it can be spent on other priority areas like provision of physical infrastructure, irrigation, energy and watershed development, and any other measures for enhancing the environmental quality in the mining district. So that is all about today's daily quiz. I hope you were able to understand all the concepts. Do not forget to tell us in the comments how many questions were you able to guess correctly. So thank you very much and have a very good day ahead.